Lovelies. So as promised, I said I'd do a video about aging and how to look and feel your best and possibly a bit younger. So I'm not all about anti-aging because, as I said before, aging is a privilege. It's just about feeling how you want to feel, and a lot of us feel younger inside, but you don't feel that you portray it on the outside. So I just thought I'd go through a few things that I do and things that are science-based and factual, and hopefully even if you just take one tip and it helps, then good. So anyway, I could have taken the opportunity to style my hair and that probably, but I haven't had time, so it is what it is. So first thing is, and I've got to say I have my notes here because brain fog is a thing in perimenopause, so excuse me that I have to keep going back to my notes. Anyway, I'm blabbing. Let's get on to the important stuff. First things first, sun damage. I was born in the 70s. There wasn't really any push on sun damage. I know, in the 80s and the 90s, I was properly hammering the sun. In fact, I used to work for a company called the Tanning Shop, and they had the stand-up cubicles, and I would be in there all the time. But now, in hindsight, I wish that I had have used sun protection, particularly on my face, because I do think you need to get the sun on your skin for the vitamin D, but covering up your face and neck and chest area is really important. Also, you don't want to burn your body, blah, blah, blah. So I always use sun protection on my face, whether it's rainy, hot, cloudy, whatever. And so I use either, there's a mineral one that I use that's a 50, and this one's Super Goop, which is a 30. I wish it was a 50 to be honest, but this is gorgeous on your skin and it makes you look all glowy and lovely. I don't wear foundation because I actually think that's quite aging on a lot of people. It is on me, so I generally just put this on because it's tinted, and a bit of concealer, and that's it. Obviously bronzing powder or blush or whatever. So that's the number one thing, and really I wish I had have done that before, but it's never too late. The next thing is hydration. And when you're dehydrated, your skin does look older. It looks more liney, it's not as plump. You also haven't got as much energy. Your body needs the hydration. You also hold on to water because it doesn't know when the water's coming next. You hold on to it. Water retention, that's the word. But if you notice, when you're being good with your water and having 2 to 3 litres of water a day, your skin's more glowy, it's more plump. And also don't forget, if you're having lots of water, you also need to have an electrolyte too, because you could be having not enough salts in your body and magnesium and etc. So I get the Cis electrolyte tablets, and I have 1 a day in my water, and they're really nice. You can just get them on Amazon or wherever. But stay hydrated, and that will make a big difference to everything. It's virtually free, and it's so amazing how many people are walking around dehydrated. Coffee and tea are diuretics, so they do dehydrate you a little bit, even though it's still a fluid. So I tend not to count that unless it's herbal teas. So as much water as you can, about 2 to 3 litres. Sleep. So we all know when we've had a bad night's sleep that we look pretty crap. We definitely look older, and especially at this time of life, like I'm approaching 50, I'm 50 in March, sleep can be an issue. And it's when we heal, it's when our brain heals, all of the organs heal, your skin, everything. It does like a clear out. So if we're not getting adequate sleep, it's not just looking older that it affects, as we all know, it also pushes up hunger, etc. But I have done a video to help with sleep. So rather than prattling on about that, I'll point you in that direction. And if you're having issues with sleep, which is quite common at our sort of age, then have a watch of that. But sleep to me is at the base of the health pyramid. If your sleep isn't in check, then everything else just declines. So it's really important to try and get as much good sleep as you possibly can. The next thing is diet. Now, the more processed your diet, the more it's loaded with inflammatory foods. And I like to practice balance. So I do have some processed foods, ultra processed foods. Processed foods can be stuff like oats, because I go for a process, but ultra processed foods like a chocolate bar or a protein bar or something like that. But I leave those to a minimum, and the majority of my diet is whole foods, one ingredient foods. And we also want to incorporate plenty of antioxidant rich foods which fight the free radicals in the body, and free radicals are extremely aging. So that's things like dark berries, dark leafy greens, nuts. There's a whole plethora of antioxidant rich foods. And the other macronutrient that I prioritize is protein, and protein is necessary to help prevent the breakdown of muscle, and muscle really is the fountain of youth, and I'll get onto that a little bit later when I come to exercise. But really you should be aiming for about 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, and try to have those in a minimum of 20 gram portions per meal. So between 20 and 40 grams is ideal. It's also really satiating, so you won't be as hungry, and protein is needed for practically every function of the body. So yeah, it's really important to get that protein in, as well as fiber rich vegetables. It's really important to have a good amount of fiber in your diet, and also some healthy fats as well. If you're watching your weight, then just track for a little bit, track for a couple of weeks to see, you know, how much you're having in comparison with your macronutrients. Fat is the most calorie dense macronutrient, so you do have to watch it, but it's still important to get that fat in your diet. It's important for your hormones. It coats every cell of the body. So the old 1990s low fat diet craze was complete nonsense, and please do not be afraid of fat. Fat doesn't make you fat. It's like saying blueberries make you blue. So it's all about balance and energy in, energy out, but also your diet consisting of predominantly whole foods to help you on the way of your health and energy and hunger, etc. So exercise. People that exercise just look younger unless they're over exercising, and I'm sure we all know somebody that does that. In particular, people that do excessive cardio. There's it's not very nice, but people call it runner's face, because the face is really drawn, it's all dragged down. And there's nothing wrong with cardio at all. It's great for your heart, etc. But the fountain of youth really is resistance training with heavy, for you, weights. So the last couple of reps are, really hard to do with correct form. Building muscle doesn't mean bulky. It's really, really, really hard for a woman to get bulky. And it helps with hormone management, so excessive estrogen. It helps protect against insulin resistance because it takes up glucose from the blood. It really, really is the fountain of youth, and I cannot recommend resistance training enough. And if you live in my area, I can recommend some good trainers or some online too if you need help and coaching on that line. So let's have a look at my notes here. Also, walking is really underrated, and it's really surprising how much energy it actually uses. So it also doesn't push up appetite, which excessive cardio can do, or excessive exercise of any kind. And it's also a huge de-stressor, especially when you get out in nature. So getting those walks in are super duper important. I know some days you just can't do it, especially it's quite rainy at the moment, but just moving about more needs non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So moving about, doing, cleaning the house, fidgeting, all sorts of things also add up to the energy used in the day, and that also helps keep your body composition in management. Following on from the excessive cardio, this is oxidative stress, and oxidative stress is a huge ager. So again, I'll go back to increasing your walking. There's nothing wrong with cardio. It's great for your heart health. But there's a fine line between it being therapeutic and not. So just watch how much cardio you're doing and incorporate more strength training in with that too. And then stress, the biggie. My dad always said that stress is a killer, and he's absolutely right. We're all going to have stresses in our lives. I know personally I've had some big stresses, especially in the last few years, and we can't avoid that, but we can choose how we approach them and how we react to them, and if we have things in place to help us manage that. Some stresses, there's nothing you can do about it at all. So what would that, for me, I've talked about it several times, but my mum died unexpectedly in hospital, and none of us were there. We couldn't see her. It was hugely upsetting, to say the least. But I had things in place to help me manage that. It didn't mean that I didn't have really dark days, but I had yoga. That was my main thing. I stuck to a healthy diet. Even if I didn't feel like eating, I still made sure I was getting nutrient dense foods, and also meditation as well, and getting out in nature and just getting some fresh air. So although it was still incredibly stressful, those things helped me 100%. And yeah, you've got to find ways to manage stress, because life throws you some real shit balls and you need to be able to deal with it. Okay, that's enough of that. The next one is alcohol. Sorry, alcohol is a toxin. It's its own macronutrient and it's metabolized completely different to all the other 3 macronutrients. In fact, when we have alcohol, all the other macronutrients in the stomach have to wait until the alcohol is completely expelled from the body, and it's just not great. It's extremely aging. You must have seen people that probably looked great when they were younger, but they just drink excessively, and that can be more than a couple of drinks a week, surprisingly. And now they look way older than they should, and that is alcohol, I'm afraid. And it also shrinks the brain. I'm not saying don't have alcohol at all. I absolutely love a cocktail at the weekend. I'll have an espresso martini and that'll be my treat. And also I'm going on holiday soon, so I will drink a bit more than normal, but day to day, week in, week out, year in, year out, drinking alcohol on an extremely regular basis isn't great. It's not great for your sleep. It's not great for your metabolism. It's not great for your brain. It's not great for your mental health. It's not great for your gut health. So just watch how much you're having. It's also full of empty calories. So yeah, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but alcohol really isn't great. And I know they go on about red wine in the blue zone countries and stuff, but it's not drunk excessively, and it's their whole lifestyle included in that. I think the wine companies just took that and ran with it, but they didn't take into account that all of these countries, the blue zone countries where they live to 100, and they're much healthier than us, they eat completely unprocessed foods. They have a really strong family unit. The stress levels are much lower. They live in sunshine all the time, etc. So red wine isn't the fountain of youth that it's made to be. Okay, so the next thing is I love facial massage, and I in particular love using my gua sha and jade roller when I do this every single morning. It only takes a few minutes with some oil. I just put it on my face and then massage up with the gua sha first, and then with the roller, and do a few facial yoga massage exercises too. And I found that it's lifted my face slightly. I haven't had any fillers or Botox or anything like that. Not shaming anybody that wants to do that. I'm not that keen. I did think about Botox once, but I'm glad I didn't. And yeah, it's not really for me, but if it's for you, fill your boots. But the gua sha has made a real difference, and in the texture of my skin too. It just feels much more glowy and a little bit tighter. And then what I put on after that, so I put on the Snoxing 2, which is, they call it Botox in a bottle. Well, it's not a bottle, it's a tube. And it's got lots of peptides in there, so I'll do that in the morning, but in the evening I'll use The Ordinary Argiline, which I put on specific areas, concentrated, and then Matrixyl. They're both peptides, and so I put a little blob of Matrixyl, a few drops of Argiline again, mix it together, and then pat it all over my face. And these are so good as well. I've noticed a real difference with all three of those products. And also hair. So another thing I've been doing for, say, about a year now is using the Ordinary Multipeptide Lash and Brow Serum. This is amazing. You've got to be consistent with it, and it's not instant results, but it's only like £12 something, and some lash serums can be absolutely ridiculous. And to me, I think it's just about being consistent. But I don't wear eyelash extensions. I've got a bit of mascara on, but my eyelashes are so long and strong. Don't know if you can see, but there you can see. Yeah, super pleased with that, and I'll always get that. I hope they don't discontinue it, and it lasts forever because you literally just a tiny bit. The next thing is hair. It's on about hair. So I do a treatment about once a fortnight with rosemary oil, and I'm sure we've all heard about it. Has to be mixed with a carrier oil, so I literally just use olive oil, and I rub it into my roots, and then keep it on for a couple of hours, and then wash it off. And I use bonding shampoo and conditioner as well to keep my ends strong, and it really does thicken your hair up, because as we age, our hair does get a bit thinner. And although I've got a lot of hair, but it's fine, so it does go flat. So yeah, I think that's a really good tip that I also stick to as well. I do sometimes forget, but there we go. And the next thing is makeup. I've always absolutely loved makeup, and I remember as a little girl, I could probably barely even walk. I'd get one of the dining chairs and have a mirror, and my mum would give me all her old makeup, and I'd sit there doing my face, and I've absolutely always loved makeup. But as I've got a bit older, I find that too much, and it does actually age me now. So like I said earlier, I don't wear foundation anymore. What I use is can't get my words out. I'll either use Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. As I say, like day to day, I just use the Supergoop Close Screen, or this one's really nice as well. It's by Terry Brightening CC Serum, and these are both, they just make you look really glowy. And I just put a bit of Charlotte Tilbury Radiant Concealer in a few areas that I need it, and obviously a bit of bronzer, a bit of blusher, mascara, and some lip. But another tip that I've learned is, remember how we were always taught to, when you put your blusher on, you smile, put it on the apple of your cheek, and then it's down there. So don't do that anymore. Just try it. Just keep a straight face and start from here and put it where your highlighter would go, just up higher. I do like it round the middle of the face because it just suits me a bit better, but keep it up here, because you smile and then it drops down, so you end up with your cheek down here and it just drags down your face. So that's a really good tip, and that's something that I always do now. Also lips as well. So our lips do get thinner, and I've been using the Inkalist Triple Tide Plumping Lip Balm. I've only just started using it really. I think I've noticed a little bit of a difference. It's not a miracle worker, but I've started using that, and I do sometimes use the Too Faced lip injections. So it's got a slight sort of tingling feeling, and it plumps up your lips a bit, and it just makes them look a bit more youthful. And I also overline the Cupid's bow a bit, which like pushes your lips up and makes your top lip look a bit fuller, and you can just go a bit down there too. Just don't overline towards the corners because it looks a bit weird. But you know, if you don't wear makeup, don't bother. But I do love makeup, so they're just the little things that I've changed that have made a big difference in how my face looks. And I think that's about it really. I hope I've pointed out everything. I think I have everything I can think of, but if you have any tips as well, comment below, and I hope you found this interesting. I can go more into nutrition if you like, or any of the other aspects. Like I say, if you're struggling with sleep, there's another video on that with loads and loads of tips of things to do, nighttime routines, maybe some supplements. So yeah, so have a lovely day, my lovelies, and let me know what you thought. Okay, lots of love. Bye.